Hey, what's up, phone lovers? Welcome to the Mobile Roar podcast for the week of July 15th, 2015. I am Joe Fidua.
I am Christopher Chavez.
And I'm Ashley King.
We're living in a post 100 episode world, guys.
Right? It feels so
different.
strange.
Feels weird.
I just wanted to mention that if you didn't listen to our episode last week, we had special guest Edgar back on, so if you didn't listen to that episode, definitely make sure to go back and listen to that one. It was a fun time.
Yeah.
But this week, also, I got to wish you guys a happy Prime Day.
Happy Prime Day.
Are you guys celebrating?
Yeah, I'm celebrating. I was like so excited when I opened up the Prime specials, and then I found, there's an electric leaf blower on there right now that I got my eye on.
Dude, I bought an electric leaf blower like a couple months ago. Dang it.
The thing that sucks is I don't know what the heck I'm gonna use it for. We live in an apartment. I don't know what I'm gonna.
Well, you get your carpet all messy. You don't want to vacuum up. Just open a window, get that leaf blower out.
Oh, to like dust. I could use it to dust everything. That's kind of
Yeah,
awesome.
you could use it to dust everything, but it's going to do the opposite of what you want.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Maybe my porch. I could use it on my. It's cordless. So geez, use it for anything.
I just
You guys, have you bought anything? I haven't bought anything. There's not been a single thing I want.
Every time I've clicked to buy something, there was a cool Galaxy S6 glass screen protector for $1.50. I was like, oh heck yeah! And then it was already sold out. And that Nexus 6 for $400. That was freaking awesome.
I have actually bought two things, which is
snap.
weird because when it happened, I was like bashing it on Twitter because when the day started, the deals were super lame. Like
Yeah,
I got on.
I was up super early this morning when it actually started, and I was like, wow, this is their Prime Day?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But then I started like digging a little bit deeper. I found some good deals in the Amazon warehouse section. So I bought a camping chair, it's like a folding camping chair. I got it for $17. It was originally like $40. That was a pretty sweet deal because I'm going camping this weekend, and I've been looking for a chair. So that was just perfect. And then I impulse bought a glass jug of Mountain Dew Shine.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That looked really good, actually.
Yeah, I had a coupon, so it was like it was $7, I think.
Can you reuse it?
I used to be what?
You could reuse it too.
Yeah, right. That's what's cool about it. It's like a collector's item almost.
I don't know what you'd put in there, milk or vodka or something.
Yeah, that's true. That was just a weird thing I bought, but yeah. Like you said, there have been a lot of good deals that just went super fast. There was like a $75 40-inch TV, I think it was, that went just like instantly. Whoever got that's feeling good.
The funny thing, no matter how weird it is, and everyone's like, oh, this is a fail, it's a big win for Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
All the people that are on the site right now, all the people, you had to have Amazon Prime to get it, so all the people that signed up for even just a trial or whatever of Amazon Prime, and they're going to cancel later, whatever, they're still using Amazon Prime. They're probably, after this is over, are going to be more inclined to actually buy something just to try it out, and it's just like, yeah, genius, pure genius.
This is just all stuff that I'm sure Amazon has a crap ton of, and they're trying to like get rid of some stock. So,
oh yeah,
this is just nothing but a win for them. They don't
all
care.
Those warehouses they have, everywhere is filled with things. So this is probably like their basket. They have a basket just full of random stuff, TVs and.
I just wonder if this is going to be a yearly thing now. Like July 15th every year is going to be Prime Day. That could be kind of cool.
Oh shoot! They had an LG TV 55-inch 4K.
Wow.
For 65% off. That's crazy. That one sold out already. Man, that's so quick.
But the big question is it actually better than Black Friday? Because that was their boasting.
Honestly, it is because there's way more stuff. It's still hard to get like on Black Friday, but I think the stuff is better. The deals are better. You can shop from the comfort of your home. 2-day shipping, all that stuff. It's better. And Black Friday is no different. Black Friday is just retailers getting rid of stock and
that is true, yeah.
Stuff they have lying around. Every now and again they'll get some like manufacturer to make a really cheap TV just for their Black Friday deal. But that's just kind of to bait people to bring them in. But this is cool. There's useful items in here.
Tell you what, though, if the neighbors have their Prime Day decorations up a month from now, I'm going to be mad.
Prime
Comes earlier every year, I tell you.
I want a Prime Day T-shirt. Just give those away.
I celebrated Prime Day and all I got was this
It's gonna be the
So,
final deal. Just $1
yeah,
Prime Day T-shirt.
a white Prime Day T-shirt. All right, so let's get into some more mobile-y stuff this week. Huawei Nexus. Huawei. Huawei. I think that's how you say it. Huawei.
Huawei. Yeah.
Huawei. We got some specs for that. Rumored, of course. Snapdragon 820, 5.7-inch QHD display, metal unibody design, and a fingerprint scanner. Your thoughts?
That's all people want, right? That's all you
Yeah.
need. Just give me those on a platter.
Well, I would say
and
that's all people want, except for maybe the display is a little big.
Yeah, 5.7 is.
Well, there's that is big, but there's the other rumor is that LG is making a more reasonable size, like 5.3-inch or something.
I saw that, and I was actually curious about that. It's held me off from buying a G4 because I've never owned a Nexus device.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, if they had a G4 size Nexus, I would drop this G4 in a heartbeat and buy that. As much as I love this phone, I miss stock Android.
I mean, the big question I think is the price on all of these. Are these going to be? I don't think we'll ever see Nexus type pricing anymore.
No.
I think that just kind of went away with the G5, the Nexus 5. But I mean, it's possible. Maybe LG's making that other one. They're going to make it all low priced and stuff, and then the Huawei one will be like the premium metal version that's bigger, phablet. I don't know. It's tough to say, but that's looking promising. I think it's safe to say the Huawei Nexus is going to be a thing. I mean, we've heard from certain insiders and people that have worked within Huawei. They're like, yeah, like casually mentioning it, like, we're making it, we're doing it. Like, what? Okay, that's cool. But hopefully there's no weird problems. I've never actually owned a Huawei phone, so I can't really comment on
Yeah, I don't think I've ever even held one.
I've never owned one of their phones, but I had a T-Mobile hotspot that was produced by them, and it would not keep a connection. So I don't know if I would be excited about a Huawei Nexus.
a hotspot has one thing to do, just
Exactly, and it couldn't even do that right.
This dang Nexus can't hold a connection.
I mean, that's kind of how I felt with LG. I mean, after I had the G2 and then the Nexus 5, it was just all those kind of had similar hardware issues with Bluetooth and GPS and stuff. And after that, I kind of just swore off it. No more LGs for me. Even though the G4, I was so close to pulling the trigger on the G4, but ultimately went Samsung, and that's just been a roller coaster. That was probably a really bad mistake because this phone's so buggy and oh my gosh, it's terrible.
I like how just a few weeks ago you were like, yeah, Ashley, just go get you an S6, you'll love it.
Yeah, well, it was that 5. There was that 5.1 update that came out so quick out of nowhere, and everyone wants it. Yeah, 5.1. And it's just a small incremental update, but after that, my battery life went really good, but the phone is also really buggy now. So now there's it's lagging in weird areas. Last night, it out of nowhere, it just became this nuclear temperature, and I'm like, what is happening? And it was dropping 1% every 20 seconds or so. I've never seen that on a phone ever. Yeah, it was just I was watching it and I'm like, oh my gosh! Went from 25%. And it was just kept going down, and I looked at my battery. I had to screenshot it because I was like, this is amazing. And yeah, it just ended up just dying within a couple seconds. It's so crazy. But phone's buggy. Phone's buggy as F.
I think I'll pass.
Is there a phone that isn't though? Anyone? Have you guys have never had trouble with any of your phones or anything?
No, not at all. I usually have trouble.
I've never had anything like what you just described.
Right.
No, that sounds crazy.
Yeah, it's always just little things that you can live with. It's oh yeah, this is just kind of hashtag Android life. You have these little issues here and there that aren't huge deals, but nothing like that.
Yeah.
This G4, the longer I've had it, the more every once in a while it gets really laggy, and that's something that I've experienced on Android phones in the past before too.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think that this whole laggy. I've been hearing that a lot with the S6 and G4 and stuff, and I think it's probably a Lollipop thing. I'm guessing it's some kind of stupid memory leak in Lollipop, so it's like I mean, we mentioned it before in other podcasts and stuff, but it's like you can never pinpoint. Is it the software?
Yeah.
Is it the hardware? Is it just who knows? Who knows? Way too many variables.
It's so hard to pinpoint it because, like you said, you don't know what it is. So I have Android M on this Nexus 6, and so I start using it, and it's like, holy crap, this is so much faster than the G4. But then again, this is like a pure, fresh factory reset install. So it's like, well, how is it going to be a couple months from now? Is it going to be the same?
Yeah.
Or?
Load it up with some apps, and then we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right. So the next thing, OnePlus 2. We got some camera samples because MKBHD has the phone. I think, is he the only one that has it?
Well, we were talking about it, and I mean, I guess like as soon as he received his, OnePlus was also shipping out those VR headsets. So people were like, "Oh, is this a VR headset?" Or "Oh, it's just da 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 da," and everyone thinks that they might have gotten it because everyone just got this package from OnePlus, and they're like,
"Yeah,
well, did I get a OnePlus 2?" And oh, it's a VR headset. So he was the only one that got it, but it was an engineering prototype, so he doesn't even know what the design looks like. It's just like a black box with all the necessary.
He doesn't know the design, but is the camera final?
I mean, I guess I don't know why OnePlus. The thing is, it's OnePlus, so who knows what they're thinking. But I mean, yeah, it's like if you look on the OnePlus page, their Google Plus page, there's actually this Photomania contest that they were doing, and in the little header image or whatever that they're using for it, there's a phone that they're using. And they're like, oh, this is an actual OnePlus engineering prototype that we're using to take photos with and stuff. So I'm assuming they just sent him one of those they had lying around. Just to kind of test out the camera stuff, but from what they said, it's like, I mean, non-final software. The software's not finalized. Design's not finalized. The hardware is like maybe sort of finalized, but that's about it. So I think he's got like the hardware is there. That's what's going to be on the phone, but it's not like he can start reviewing it right away. Basically, all he can do is snap pictures and stuff.
Do you think they look good, the pictures?
Yeah, the picture that I saw, the photo was flipping amazing, but he didn't. Yeah, that's the worst part is that he's being so secretive about it. So he didn't say like what kind of shooting mode he was in, if it was like some sort of HDR thing. And Oppo previously had this feature, and I think I'm not sure if OnePlus had it as well, but where they were able to stitch multiple photos into one gigantic photo, and the detail was absolutely amazing. The noise was insane, and everyone was flipping out about that back in the day because that was like the best camera photo we've seen. So it's tough to say. Like, we don't know what he was doing. If he had it on a tripod, sitting there for 5 minutes as it took a million photos, I mean, who knows? But that photo was really, really, really good.
He posted more later yesterday too. I don't know if you got a chance to look at those.
No, I haven't.
They look good, but I didn't think they looked that amazing. And I saw the Reddit thread about them, and a lot of people were saying the same thing. They didn't think they looked like that exceptional. Probably like Galaxy S6 level for sure, but
yeah, honestly, I mean that's all I'm asking. I mean, because no matter what you do, your sensor is tiny, your lens is tiny. I mean, you're not gonna. It'll never really look like a DSLR, but it's all I want is S6 quality, which is amazing to me. I mean, I went to this last week. I went to Comic-Con and I was hanging out with Edgar, and he's been all about that G4. I mean, he mentioned it in the podcast last week, but
of course he has. Edgar loves LG.
He was just, oh, look at this camera, man! You gotta look at this, and he's like showing pictures. I'm like, all right, let's just take a photo of this beer box right here, and we both took the photo, like exact same lighting conditions, everything, and they look both similar, but when you zoom in on the S6, there's just so much detail. I mean, it's just insane. And then you go on the G4, and it's just you zoom in, and things get all muddy and blurry a little bit. But it's just I have yet to see a freaking phone that can compare to the S6 right now. I don't know what Samsung did, but they're on it. They're on it.
I think the G4's camera is very good.
Yeah, it handles lighting really well. I would say maybe sometimes it handles lighting, white balance, and stuff a little bit better than the S6, but just with that detail, though, that crystal clear detail.
Because, yeah, that was what blew me away, actually, was zooming in on pictures. I think there's quite a bit of detail, so I'll have to check out a S6 sometime and see what it looks like.
Yeah, try to do it like in natural lighting, or not natural lighting, but like artificial lighting, like with your indoors and stuff like that. That's when the G4 like starts plummeting. But outside, I think usually everything looks pretty much the same. But I still think the S6 will beat it in detail. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing good.
All right, so we had an exclusive this week, which is something we don't usually have, but Derek Ross got a look at the next version of Android Wear, and there's some interesting new features that are going to be coming up, I guess. Most notably, watch faces are going to be interactive, I guess, so like you can tap on your watch face and it will actually do something, like maybe it'll show the weather, show your calendar, things like that.
Could you set up like tap patterns? Like if you tapped it twice, it would do something specific?
I don't think so, because it was more like an OS like thing, level thing. So they had like specific guidelines for what you can and can't do. So it was like like you can't swipe. The swipes are always set for swipe to the left to look at this, swipe up to look at your cards, and down to get your. So you can't mess with any kind of swiping or any of that stuff. All you can do is customize. Like developers can customize what you want the tap function to do. That's it. But it's up to the developers to do. And it's like he said, sometimes you could tap it might just show like the weather. Tap it again, it goes back to the clock. Who knows? But that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it could be like a shortcut to open an activity, like you wanted to, I don't know, see your steps or something. You could tap, and like the card will come in. So it's kind of neat. And then the other weird thing, I think it's weird at least, is sending messages to other watches. Like kind of like the weird Apple thing where like send your heartbeat and do drawings and stuff, kind of like that. You can send like emoji and stuff like that to other watches. I'm not sure exactly how that one's gonna work, but it seems like everyone wants to do that with smartwatches, or at least they think people want to do that.
Why? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. Like people always just make fun of that on the Apple Watch. I don't think anyone's actually using it for real.
Well, it's going to be weird because it's watch to watch. I think it's watch to watch communication. So it's like I don't know if they're gonna. Because there was also a leak earlier in the week about the Google Nearby thing or whatever. So I don't know if it's going to use that to kind of like use your phone to figure out who's near and just be able to send someone a message, whoever's next to you, through your watch or something. I don't know, but yeah, it does sound kind of weird.
It was like that title in the clickbait game last week about people just using the Apple Watch to draw dicks.
Non-stop.
Yeah. All right, so Apple refreshes the iPod lineup. I think we talked about this a little bit last week. Yeah.
Wait, is it real? They're gonna do it?
It's for real, man.
No.
So basically, it's not like a huge deal. It's just new colors for the iPod Touch, I believe. Not a crazy thing.
It's not that great. Are they going to update the like internals and stuff?
It's going to have a better processor and better camera.
Well, that's good. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, upgrades internally, but I don't think the design is getting an update. It's just going to come in some different colors. But I mean, that's not a bad thing. The iPod Touch looks perfectly fine the way it is.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't. The iPod Touch looked more like an iPhone 6 when the iPhone was just a 5. I don't know if
that's true. It did. But
I wondered if they were going to do a refresh since they launched Apple Music. So I guess it was just a matter of time.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, now they have Apple Music and all that stuff. It's actually pretty.
I can't tell you the last time I've seen an iPod of any kind in the wild, and you used to not be able to go anywhere without seeing one.
I mean, I see people using them when they're running or something.
Yeah, I have seen people using them.
I always just see people with their phones.
On their arm.
The phones and those stupid like arm things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean now you have the phones. It's kind of like, what's the point? But I don't know. I think it's pretty neat. I would kind of consider getting one over an iPhone. I think if you're an Android user, it's cool because you can try out iOS and you could just use it for games only. Everyone knows
that. Get the iOS updates the same time as the phone?
I think they do. I think they all. It's like all
they
universal. Do. Yeah. So it's gonna be you'll be able to try out the new versions of iOS and get a little taste for it without having to commit fully to iOS. Because I don't mind iOS as like just playing games or checking Twitter every now and again or messaging people,
right.
But I can't commit to it as my phone when I go out places and do things. It's just
The iPod Touch will always have a special place in my heart. It was like the first mobile device I ever owned. I remember visiting like iPod Touch forums and like
What?
had it jailbroke and
Oh yeah, you
custom
used to like make
themes.
themes and stuff. You
Joe
were
got deep into the underground.
I totally
dang.
did. Yeah, I was talking to Chris about this a long time ago. Like I used to actually make themes and
I remember you
upload
talking
them.
about the themes that you had that were super popular.
I think they still use the what is it called, like Cydia store is where you would get jailbreak stuff, and like I
Uh-huh.
uploaded some themes to there and people could download them, and like I had one that was downloaded like 10,000 times. It was super popular, and I'm like why didn't I just make it 99 cents or something? I
Man,
made a ton of money off it, but yeah.
seriously. You're like, I mean, there's some country out there where you're just huge. They're all waiting for your return. Like Joe's gonna come back. Just wait, guys. He's gonna drop
It's
that new
funny.
theme
I
on us.
remember like legitimately getting emails because when you list something, you have to have your email in there for like support. And I remember just like years after I got rid of my iPod Touch, occasionally we get an email like, "Hey, when are you gonna update this theme?" It's like, I don't even know what you're talking about anymore. Yeah, good times, good times. All right, so Galaxy Note 5, 4 GB of RAM. Whoa.
Yeah, it's just a thing. It's gonna be a thing now. The weird part is that the S6 Edge Plus, the bigger S6 Edge, isn't gonna. It's gonna have 3 GB of RAM like normal. So it's like the Note 5 is gonna be like Samsung's ultimate device as far as hardware
The
goes.
ultimate power in the universe.
Ultimate Galaxy. 4
Yeah.
gigabytes is a lot, but I think I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Someone posted a funny GIF of the Chrome icon just like gobbling up the RAM because that's what it is. And now it's like, well, our phones need 4 GB of RAM for Chrome not to suck.
That's the funny part is that TouchWiz in general, like you have 3 GB on the S6 and all that, but because of TouchWiz, it's like so aggressive in its RAM management that it'll close out an app almost as soon as you're done with it. I mean, I think it maybe keeps like three apps in the background tops, and then once it's sleeping, it just ends up closing everything out. So, like, what good is 4 GB? They can give you 20 GB of RAM, and if you're not using any of it, what's the point? Why even do it? So, I mean, I'm hoping maybe Samsung has tweaked TouchWiz a little bit by then.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll be pointless.
Yeah, and I guess this is going to be unveiled in August alongside the S6 Edge Plus. So the S6 Edge Plus, what is that going to be?
It's going to be slightly bigger than the S6 Edge, but not as big as a Note 5. From what there was like some leaked pictures of it or whatever. So the Note is still going to be bigger. The Note's going to have the S Pen. The S6 Edge isn't going to have an S Pen. It's literally just going to be a bigger S6, whereas the Note, you get the S Pen, you get all that weird specialty Note software that Samsung makes for their Note devices. But yeah, the S6 Edge is just.
Do people actually use that software? Like, I've never owned a Galaxy Note, and
I
I've
don't
seen the commercials
know.
and things, but
I was thinking that the other day, like, because I know they always have the stuff you can do. You can, I mean, like crop out people's heads and put them and do weird things. And there's been a couple times where I'm like, oh, I can make a funny picture if I just had a Note, but I tried fiddling around with it on the Note and I couldn't figure out how to make anything look halfway decent. So I don't know if anyone really does use that stuff. I mean, I could do away with the S Pen completely. So I was kind of thinking about maybe an S6 Edge Plus, but now that I've had an Nexus 6, I feel like I can do phablets, and maybe I'll finally just get a Note 5. I think that would be kind of cool, but it's a toss-up still.
Sorry, I've been kind of spaced out. I had to look up my iPod Touch themes.
Oh my gosh.
I made a theme that looked like a Motorola Droid lock screen. This was like the last thing I made because I was starting to like Android. It was downloaded 311,000 times.
oh my god.
Dang, everyone wanted that Android lock screen.
I'm kicking myself right now. God.
Jeez. It's just 50 cents. You could have made it 50 cents.
I know.
And you would have had $150,000 in your pocket.
Dang. All right, so last but not least, Android M Preview 2 was released at the end of last week. And there was not like a ton of new changes, but I got it on my Nexus 6, and one of the things that I loved to see was that dang app drawer. They fixed that. You were annoyed by that too, weren't you, Chris?
Yeah, well, from what I saw of it, because I still haven't flashed it yet. I'm gonna put in a Nexus 5 one of these days. But yeah, that was ridiculous how horrible that was.
But
So
other than that, I mean, you can like.
What did they change this? So it still scrolls up and down though, right?
Right, but it doesn't have those like ridiculous huge letters on the side to like organize it.
Oh yeah, and
There's
because before it would be like if you just had one app that was like C, it would just be one app on an entire blank line.
It was just tons and tons of white space. So yeah, now it's like a much nicer grid, and it's just a lot better. Hopefully this will be the final.
I'm curious to see like if that was ever going to like if there wasn't this big backlash and everyone wasn't flipping out about how stupid it was. If they would have kind of just like kept it in there, like who's the guy that made that app drawer?
I mean, I have to imagine if people liked it, they would have left it, but I don't think anyone did.
Yeah, that is just so odd, and that's what's cool. That's what's cool about these. I think this whole developer preview thing is that Google is able to gauge feedback and see what people like, what people hate. Because imagine if that was just Android M, no one knows, and they're like, ta-da, here's Android M. And you have that disgusting app drawer.
Yeah.
Like you would have to wait who knows how long for an update to finally address that. So
yeah, people would be real mad.
Developer program is definitely worth it. It was like the best idea they've had.
It's still like a pain in the ass every time I try to get the latest one though. I'm just not good at that. ADB, fast food, all that stuff. Just not good at that.
Honestly, I don't know how I even do it anymore. I usually just plug in and I start jabbing away at my keys and somehow I just get it on. I black out. There's at some point I just black out and the new software is on my phone. I don't. That's why I've been putting it off. I've been putting it off for so long. Is because I don't want to have to deal with that, man.
But yeah, other than that, there's not a whole lot of changes. There's like you can delete screenshots from the notifications, and you can remove icons from the status bar. Like
it's neat. It's neat.
You don't want the Bluetooth icon there. That's cool. I hope that stuff stays. As accessible by the developer options.
That's what scares me is that all these developer option things are these gonna stay? Are these just kind of to let you like do what you want? Like I'm not really sure, but like. With like traditionally Android has always been bare bones. I mean they didn't even add the little quick toggles until I don't even know when it was, but every manufacturer since like Gingerbread, they always had quick toggles. Samsung always had those quick toggles back in the day, and it took Android forever to finally incorporate them. So they just like when it comes to customizing the UI and messing with that stuff, I always feel like they try to keep it as bare bones as possible. But now maybe developer options will be a way for people to finally the power users can go into that secret developer options mode and then start tweaking stuff around. And I think that'd be cool. I'd be happy with that.
It's funny. I think more people know about the developer options than I realized. A couple weeks ago, I was out with some people and they wanted to make it snappy, like faster, the animations. And they're like, one time I went into this like special section and I was able to do that, and now I can't remember how to do it anymore. And I showed them how to do it, and they were like, oh yeah, but like they had actually figured it out how to do that before, and I thought that was kind of cool.
That's funny. Yeah, they probably came across it on somebody's video or something.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I do every time I get a new phone is I jump in developer options, speed up those animations.
Exactly.
I don't know if you remember back in the day on the older Androids, it was there was like an app for it or something that you had to, I forget what it was called. It was like something tools or something, but oh jeez. Anyways, like a little tool app thing, and then you would be able to like make the animations quicker, slower, or whatever.
Yeah. All right, so I think that's going to wrap up our news. Let's go into our wins and fails of the week, and I'll start us off. So Twitter this week, they admitted that their developer privacy or policy was a mistake. And that is, of course...
That is a huge win.
Yeah.
Are they going to reverse all the apps that they've locked out for people having too many
I don't think they've gone that far yet, but... they're at least admitting that it was not a good idea. And in case you don't know what I'm talking about, Twitter a couple years ago, I think they started enforcing these developer policies where they would like a third-party app could only have so many users, and just like lots of things where it would make third-party apps not as good as the official app because, of course, they wanted people to use the official app. And yeah, I just always thought that was the worst thing because I felt like third-party apps are what made Twitter popular to begin with.
They absolutely are. I can't tell you the last time that I used the official Twitter app. Like, I still use a third-party app on my phone right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't. I gave up. Like
I did, yeah.
I fought Twitter for so long on that, and then finally I just gave up because there was too many things that I was missing out on. You know, like auto-playing GIFs and videos in the timeline, and like I don't know. There's just so many features that they have that they don't let third-party apps use, and I got fed up with it.
Yeah, mine's the exact same way. And it was since the beginning of time I was using like Twitter on my on my G1, and then I mean all these other Plume I think was like my favorite forever, and then eventually I was just like, I mean like
Remember we were talking about Twidroid the other week?
Twidroid.
Yeah, Twidroid.
Oh man, that one too.
There were so many good ones.
I used Falcon for the longest, and he completely redid his tokens once or twice at least, and I was there for all of that. So
that was the most annoying thing. Is it's like, oh, if I might have hit my token limit. So here's another app. You might want to try downloading this one. And it was just so like all these dumb hoops they had to jump through and all these
he had it set up so that you could actually enable your own developer account inside the app.
Yeah.
So, like,
Oh, you're a developer now.
Yeah. I did that. I did it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was out. At that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm done. Let's just go back to the regular Twitter app, like Nanimal, and just,
Yeah.
My biggest problem with Twitter's official app is it doesn't have a dark mode. Like, I cannot stand the look of the normal Twitter app. I hate it.
Yeah.
That is true. It's definitely not the most well designed. Like, there are some really beautiful ones out there, like Falcon, like you mentioned.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I would just love, like, if there was this resurgence of third-party apps, like they relax all these rules they have, and there's just like all these amazing third-party Twitter apps coming out again. That would be so cool.
Do you know if the third-party apps now are they allowed to upload like multiple images? Because like I think that was the time that I left is when Twitter started allowing you to like upload 4 images at a time or whatever. And I remember none of the third-party apps could do that at that point, and I was like, you know what, fine, I'm just gonna have to use the regular Twitter app. But
I still don't think they can. I think it's one image at a time.
Can they upload GIFs? Is that a thing? Are they allowed to do that?
I haven't tried to do it in a long time, but last time I tried, I couldn't. So.
Dang.
Dang.
We could just have a podcast probably one week where we talk about old apps that we used to use, like old Twitter apps.
I'm telling you, you should make that like a weekly segment or something. Just
it'd be so hard to do because it's so hard to find those apps in the App Store.
Is Twidroid in there? Twidroid's got to be because there's still people using like Gingerbread, right?
I don't think Twidroid. I always pronounce it Twidroid, but I don't know if that one exists anymore in the Play Store. Uber Social bought them. I remember that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Uber Social got them.
Yep.
And that's when I started using Uber Social for a little while. Okay, I remember. Oh man.
The other one that I used to love back in the day was the TweetDeck, the original TweetDeck app for Android.
Yes.
That was so good.
That was really good, man.
And they ruined it. As the story goes. All right. So speaking of apps, my fail of the week is the Snapchat update. They moved some things around on the stories page.
Yeah.
So now, like, the Discover stories are at the top, and that I don't mind because I actually like the Discover things. But what I hate is there's the live stories, and you could always like tap that little button to hide a live story, you know. Now you can't hide them anymore. They're stuck there until you watch the entire story, and that super annoys me because 90% of the time, I do not give a crap about these live stories. Like right now, there's 4 live stories showing up: San Juan, MLB All-Star Game, Bastille Day, Ultra Beach. I don't care about 3 out of these 4, and I can't get rid of them. It's super annoying to me.
That
And
sounds really dumb.
I didn't know
yeah,
you could get rid of them before. I just always just.
yeah, there was like that little weird icon that would show up on the side, and if you tapped it, you could hide the story.
Oh.
And like I always did that every single time one showed up because it just like cluttered that page and it pushed your friend's stories down farther, and it still does that. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of that update. All right, so Chris, what do you got for us?
My win. Not sure if I even have a fail yet, but my win is going to be the ZTE Action. I thought it was Action. I really, really did.
Is it? I don't know. I may have spelled it wrong in the document.
No. That's literally how it's spelled, but I guess
Okay.
people are pronouncing it Ax on. Like I don't know why. I think
Act
Action is.
on, act off.
But it's finally official. ZTE had an event like in New York, I think yesterday, and some people were able to get hands on and all that stuff. But they announced the phone. It's got a fairly good price and a really unique design. I kind of like the whole styling of it. It's got an all metal body, 4 gigabytes of RAM, Snapdragon 810 processor, but the newer version 2.1, which supposedly
The one that doesn't suck.
the one that just sucks less. But I mean, I guess we'll put that as my fail later. We'll get into that later, but it's got a lot of really good specs. 13 megapixel camera along with the duo camera, so it's got this little secondary 2 megapixel camera to help it focus quicker. Front-facing camera's 8 megapixels, so it's got some really good specs. And from what I've seen on some of the hands-on and stuff, it actually looks really, really nice. It looks weirder. I feel like it looks weirder in press shots than it does in real life or in person.
I was going to say, you described it as looking very unique, and I was like, that's not the word I'd use to describe that phone.
Yeah, see, some people, it's hard because when I first saw it, I was like, okay, it's kind of ugly and weird, but I don't know. But then when I saw the like people doing hands-on, and I'm like, oh, it looks really cool, or like actual photos of the phone, I thought it looked a lot cooler. And the fact that it's all metal, like pink, it's all solid and stuff. So I don't know. It kind of hits the mark. It kind of doesn't. I think it's cool that it's different, but it might. I don't know. And
I mean, if you hadn't said ZTE at the beginning of this, I would have thought you were describing an HTC phone.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's funny because ZTE did take quite a few cues. I feel like they almost had a front-facing stereo speakers, but it's only one mono speaker at the bottom. But they did borrow some HTC stuff, like they have this replacement program. If you break it within, I think it's like 2 years or something, then they'll repair it for you. I think the first year shipping is free, and then they also have a 30-day buyer's remorse thing, so you can try it for 30 days. If you don't like it, just give it back, get your full refund back. So I'll probably end up doing that just so I can play around with it and review it and stuff. But the price is really cheap. It's only $450. And it's got, 4 gigabytes of RAM. Everyone loves that, right? The UI itself is actually really cool too because it's not. I wouldn't call it bare bones Android or stock Android, but it looks very, very similar. It didn't look like they really tweaked or messed around with it too much. It looked very, very much like Lollipop, but and that kind of brings me to my fail is just the Snapdragon 810 in general. There's a lot of people that are getting upset when all these new phones keep coming out with a Snapdragon 810 because of all the problems it's having. And I think no matter how much damage control that Qualcomm tries to do or these manufacturers, because nobody really knew this ahead of time. These manufacturers, they had to. This is decisions they made many months ago. Like, yeah, we want the newest Qualcomm processor. What's the next one coming out? And Qualcomm's like, we got this Snapdragon 810. All right, throw it in our phone. We want that one. Put us in for 800,000 orders of those. And they're like, okay, cool. So by the time all these problems started coming up and overheating and all this stuff, it's too late. All these manufacturers have already committed to this processor, and it's sad. It's sad, really, because of how sucky it is. I really, really do hate the Snapdragon 810, and honestly, when I hear that a phone has it, it kind of turns me off to it immediately because.
Have you owned a phone with the 810?
Yeah, I have the 1M9 with the 810, and I can say definitively that it is slower than the 1M8, which was using 801 processor. So that alone just kind of once I finally experienced the 1M9, I just saw how it just lackadaisically opened up apps, just kind of like, all right, I'll get to it. Stop rushing me.
Like an old man or something.
Ta-da! Here you go. Jeez, Mr. Impatient. And yeah, I'm just like, you know what? Forget it. You're not even working for my money. But yeah, so that's gonna be my fail for the week. Snapdragon 810. Yeah. Yeah.
All right then. Ashley?
My win for the week is something that Joe actually showed me and was really interesting. I don't know if you guys ever played with Commodore 64 computers, but they were one of my first introductions to computers.
Man, I wasn't even born back then. Jeez.
Yeah, you were.
Two Italian guys have apparently secured the Commodore trademark in a bunch of countries, and they're going to release an Android phone with the Commodore name on it.
Which is cool.
But
It
like,
is cool.
what is it? Okay, so like, for people that don't know what the heck a Commodore 64 is, you want to explain? Because I didn't know. I was.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of people out there.
That was before.
It was a computer system that basically rivaled Apple's Apple II system that was super, super popular in the mid-'80s, early '90s. You could play games on it. You had little floppy disks. People probably don't even know what floppy disks are anymore. But
It was primarily for gaming, whereas
It
like,
was.
the Apple ones were more for like productivity type stuff.
Yeah, like a computer.
it was definitely a gaming computer. And that's the neat thing about the phone, though, is it's going to have a Commodore 64 emulator on it. So if you liked those old games or you want to try those old games, you could do it on that phone.
Yeah. And I mean, like the specs and stuff that it has aren't too shabby either, just in terms of like a phone. It has 3 gigabytes of RAM, which is pretty decent. 13 megapixel camera. So,
I mean, $300 unlocked for the price, too.
yeah.
I mean, I'm still kind of iffy about being like, oh, there's going to be this amazing phone from these people I have no idea who are. But I think it's really neat that they're trying to resurrect something that was a huge part of a lot of people's lives when they were growing up with tech.
Yeah. And like that whole getting like the naming rights or whatever you want to call it. Like we've seen that a lot at CES when there's like these Polaroid phones and stuff, and you never really know what's going to happen because like you can't go by the name. It's not like Commodore from the 80s actually made this phone.
Right.
But just the fact that I think the fact that they threw in the emulator is a nice touch because they didn't have to do that. They could have just slapped Commodore on it, and people would have probably taken notice no matter what. But putting the emulator on it is kind of a cool touch.
Well, it's like Edgar was talking about last week, that Star Trek communicator. He's like, I'm not really a big Star Trek fan, but it's just so cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. But weird.
So next we need like the Sony Nintendo phone. Or not, Why did I say Sony Nintendo? The Nintendo phone. The Nintendo Entertainment phone. The NEP.
That would make a killing.
It would. It definitely would. My fail for the week. Have you guys been paying attention to Reddit?
Yes.
I don't know if you read AMAs, but they're really popular and one of the things that made Reddit so popular. And before they hired someone to get in there and actually verify the celebrities, there were a lot of AMAs that turned out to be fake or trolls or people that were representing the celebrity but weren't actually the celebrity. So Reddit hired a person to manage that, and she's been doing that for like 3 years now.
Victoria Taylor or Tyler?
Taylor. Victoria Taylor. She's done a great job, and then last week Reddit fired her with no reason. They just got rid of her.
Yeah, we'll probably never know why. Because I doubt she can talk about it.
There's a lot. Yeah, she won't say. I don't know. I'm surprised she hasn't said why or whatever.
She probably isn't allowed to.
Maybe they didn't even give her an actual reason. It's like, oh, we're gonna have to let you go. But I mean,
there was speculation that the Reddit admins wanted to monetize AMAs more and do video AMAs and things that just aren't in the spirit of what that subreddit is about.
Yeah, and apparently she was kind of like resistant to that. She was kind of like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, we've been doing it for this way, and they're just like, see ya. But like everyone was blaming, I guess, the new CEO, which was Ellen Powell or whatever.
And she's not the CEO anymore. She resigned.
Yeah, she ended up resigning. So everyone's like, yeah, we did it. All the like Reddit, whatever, white knight people flipping out with their pitchforks, and they're like, we did it. We got her out. But There's a new guy taking over, and then all this other new information came out where it's like apparently she, like the CEO, the old CEO, Powell, was actually like the one that didn't fire her, and it was this other guy who was like,
Alexis Ohanahan.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
Hanian, or however you say his name, yeah.
Haney and something.
He had more to do with it than Powell did, and
Yeah,
Powell
which
kind of took
makes,
the blame.
and that makes total sense. And yeah, it's funny because like why would you blame a CEO for like just some employee getting fired? I mean, these guys are worrying about other stuff. They don't handle that. But it's Reddit, and it's like a complete mess right now, and I'm sure eventually this will all blow over, but
That's definitely my fail because,
Yeah.
I mean, Victoria did an awesome job, and I feel like she was probably let go for monetary reasons rather than any personal thing that she did wrong.
I mean, every time there was a big deal AMA going on, you'd always see that line, Victoria from Reddit is here helping out.
Yep.
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 It's sad.
Crazy.
She'll get
Yeah,
over
the
it.
thing I always say about Reddit when there's drama going on is it's kind of strange because when I go to Reddit and I'm signed in, I don't see any of this drama.
Mhm.
But yeah, there is a ton of drama going on.
Yeah.
Oh well. Oh, what was the name of that one site that people started like going to?
Vote.
Vote.
Like
Yeah.
a boat. Like a boat with a vote.
But then it crashed.
It can't handle the traffic
Yeah.
load.
I
It
was
started
listening-
when they were banning that subreddit fat people hate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought was completely justified.
It is. I mean, you wouldn't have a hate group. It's a hate group is what it is.
That wasn't even like, see, so many people don't understand what happened with that. I was talking to someone about it the other day. It's not even that they were like shaming fat people or whatever. It was they were going to other subreddits and like they were posting pictures of fat people in R whales. Like you can't go to other subreddits
That's just brigading.
and
Yeah.
do shit like that. That's what got them banned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they took it out of their subreddit.
You're right. You got to stay in your own
And
area.
people are pissed because they're like, well, if you're gonna ban, fat people hate. What about like? There's one about like dead babies, sexy dead babies. Like
Ugh.
nobody banned that yet. That one's still around, and there's all kinds of like racist ones and.
The look your girlfriend just gave you when you said sexy dead baby.
I mean, like these subreddits are still there and they exist, but that's what people don't understand. They're like, well, then why aren't you banning those? It's because those guys keep it there. They keep it in there.
Yeah.
They don't go to other subreddits. They're not trying to dox people or doing anything else. So, and that was kind of like the Pow's thing. Pow's thing was like cool with that, free speech and all that. But I guess the new guy moving in, he's like ready to start pulling the plug on all these. He wants to censor all these ridiculous subreddits and stuff. And people are like, no, sexy babies,
Yeah,
babies.
and that was I was talking about vote because I was listening to some other podcast and they were talking about it and they were saying how since they couldn't handle all that traffic, they probably just lost out on like a ton of money because if they would have been prepared for a huge pilgrimage from Reddit, who knows? They could have been the next big thing. Because that's how Reddit became popular because people hated Dig, like that Dig redesign that happened way back, and then all of a sudden people just like flooded Reddit, and now look where Reddit is. Reddit's huge.
Yeah.
You got to be ready for the next wave.
Poor vote. Like two
Oh,
guys
right.
in their basement just flipping out, sweating.
Just got a huge spike, and they're like, "Whoa!"
Oh.
Lights just like turn off in their basement. Oh crap! All right, so let's do some app picks. Mine is a game that I found without the help of Ashley, so I'm very
snap.
very proud.
My ears are parked.
It's called Atomos. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it's like Atom with AS at the end. And it's a game that is a little similar to. Have you ever played Threes?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a little bit like Threes. There's like a circle of atoms, and you have to get atoms to combine with each other. So like you can combine 2 helium together.
Oh man, this is like Space Chem. I'm gonna download this immediately.
I've played Space Chem, and this is nothing like Space Chem. Well, it's a lot easier than Space Chem. I'll say that. Space Chem was like
Space
the
Chem
most.
is like intro to programming, so yeah, it
Right,
is
right, right.
difficult, but
Yeah. But it's cool because like it has that same type of thing where you have to combine the things to make bigger things, and if you don't, like your board will get full, and then you won't have any moves left, and the game's over. So it's that same type of thing. So you're basically just trying to create the most valuable element that you can. And I think I've gotten up to what is the name? What element is atomic number 16? I can't remember.
Titanium hydroxide. Yeah.
What?
Nobody knows that, man.
You would if you played this game. That's my point. You can learn about.
Just listening to you talk about this game is making me fall asleep.
The thing about it.
Worse.
I'm trying to get behind it, but like, there's just no way.
Sulfur. Sulfur's the answer. That's the biggest one I've created. But no, yeah, there's like science naming and stuff behind this, but it literally you don't need to know anything about science. Like it is the same type of thing as threes. You're just combining numbers. That's all it is.
Okay.
But there's like a cool little science flair to it. So it's free and I played it a lot yesterday. It's really fun. So go try that, and it's relatively new too. It doesn't have a ton of downloads, so check it out.
Nice. You're gonna have to skip me on. I don't have an pick yet.
Go for it, Ashley.
Mine is called Alpha Bear, and it is by the same company that produced Triple Town. You guys remember Triple Town?
Triple Town was the jam for a while.
I do not remember Triple Town.
Man.
It was pretty great.
Yeah, be careful. It's addicting, dude. I'm just saying.
Alpha Bear is like their take on Scrabble, I guess you would call it. Because they start you out on a board and you have letters around this little bear figure, and you use the letters to make a word, and as you use up all the letters on one side of the bear grows bigger, and it unlocks more of the board so you get more letters. And you have to use up the exposed letters within 4 turns, because if you don't, they turn to stone. So you're kind of trying to fill out this board by using all the letters that are revealed. It's really neat.
Yeah, I was actually...
Is that what you do? You make words?
Yeah, you make words.
You make words.
I like word games.
Yeah, when I downloaded Animos yesterday, I was looking for new games, and I saw Alpha Bear, and I was actually really close to downloading that one instead.
You should definitely try it out. I had fun with it. I played it a lot yesterday.
Do you have one, Chris? If not, I have another one I can talk about.
I don't. I have absolutely nothing. I'm trying to look.
I'll do one for you. I think you've probably heard of this game, Ashley. Agar.io.
Yes.
Okay. I've been playing that a lot on my computer because they have a web version that you can just play in your browser. But they also have a iOS and Android version too.
It's like Katamari Damacy for mobile and desktop.
Yeah, it's like a lot of games. Shoot, there was that other game. It's like you start as a little circle and you gotta eat all these other little circles, and every time you eat a little circle, you get bigger and bigger and bigger. But I think the really cool part about this one compared to the other games is that it's like online and there's a leaderboard.
Mm-hmm.
So other people are playing at the same time as you, and you can see who is the biggest on the map currently, and you have to try to like get into the top 10.
People have some crazy strategies with that game too, because like you can split yourself, so you can, if you're bigger than someone, you can split and eat them.
Yep, it's extremely fun. I've been playing in the browser mainly. I did check out the phone version. The phone version is a little bit harder to control, but it's really fun.
Adamus.io on GitHub. Is that what it? No, that's not it. How do you spell it?
Wait, are you talking about Adamus or Agario?
Adamus. No. The one you were just talking about. That's like Katamari Damacy.
Oh yeah, it's agar.io.
Agar.io. Oh, here it is.
It's cool. You can like create a nickname, and I was playing as Dopefish earlier today. That's a reference. Do you guys get that reference?
What does FFA mean?
Free for all.
Oh, free for all. All right, let's do this.
Let's finish the podcast first, maybe, Chris.
What am I doing? I don't understand what I'm doing. Oh, I got eaten.
Yeah, you just go around, eat the little circles until you get bigger, and anything that's bigger than you can eat you, but anything that's smaller than you,
Man,
you
it's
can
like
eat.
the circle of life.
It's exactly like the circle of life.
Man,
All right, so we have a couple of email questions today, and then we'll get out of here. We have kind of a humorous one from our friend Daquan Johnson. He says, okay, all these questions are dandy and all, but the real question is, when can Daquan Johnson become a member of Fandroid? I mean, it's bound to happen. Let's just arrange this right now. My agent can be reached at, and then he lists this number, and he says it's a difficult number to remember, but just think 1-800-DAQUAN. and then he goes, ... Hope you guys don't mind, I'm 15. That was great. Thanks for that, Daquan.
That's awesome.
We got another question. This one is from Alan Urista, and he says, just wondering, since Android M isn't a huge overhaul and it's just polishing the OS, does that mean that manufacturer scans won't take as long since it's only tweaks and nothing changing with the UI? Great job on the podcast, big fan. Yeah, I'm not so sure. I mean, there have been a lot of Android updates, and if you look at the history of Android, that didn't change the UI drastically, but they still took a while to roll out.
Yeah, I think that has very little to do with it. I think the fact that Android M had there was some underlying theme stuff built into it. I think that maybe manufacturers, if they can utilize that for their UIs, tweaks and stuff, instead of having to come up with their own framework and all that stuff, I think that might help speed up updates a little bit. But not the fact that it's just UI is just similar, because that has really little. And Android M is still a big firmware, and there's all the underlying code and all that stuff. So, yeah.
In general, I think it's more about the new features than how it looks.
Yeah.
That takes time. But that's actually a really interesting point that you just brought up. What if Google is trying to make it easier for third-party OEMs to skin it? That would be a really smart move.
It's been, we've been saying that since, I think it was Froyo back in the day. Why don't they just allow them to do that? And
I remember people would always say,
but it never happened.
People would always say, why can't I just, when my phone boots up, choose if I want stock Android or a skin? And I think that was kind of the wrong question. I think Google wants these updates to come out fast, so they should really be thinking about how can we make this easier for the manufacturers.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They've been doing a pretty good job with some of the other stuff, but that I think it would be the main thing. And it's still, manufacturers still have all their code, all their applications and stuff, which we've been seeing a lot of them kind of separate from the OS itself a lot more. We've been seeing them just put all these apps into the Google Play Store and stuff for easy updating. So the more they do that, and the easier Google makes it for them to, the theming stuff to just be a part of Android itself, then I think we could see Android updates start coming out a little bit quicker. But, regardless of how fast a manufacturer gets it out, there's still, the delays from carriers and stuff like that. So it's always going to be kind of a mess. I think it's just one of those Android things.
Yep. Hashtag Android props. All right, I think it's going to wrap things up for this week. If you'd like to email us like Daquan and Alan did, which we always appreciate, you can use our address, podcast@mobileroar.com. You could also just send us questions with the Twitter account @mobileroarcast. Just send us tweets there, and we'll see them. You can subscribe to the audio version of the podcast on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and anywhere else. And you can follow us on Twitter. Chris is @GamerCore, Ashley is @OverlordRoar, and I am @TallSchmo. You could also hit us up there with questions if you'd like. And we will see you guys next week. Later.